Welcome! After the last two Star Wars figures of Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon, let's continue with another one from the same era, Quinlan Vos. As a huge prequel and Legends fan, Quinlan Vos has always been one of my favorite characters from that time period. We've got only a handful of not so pretty figures about him, and not even one from the Black Series. We literally have useless battle droids and not him, which is kind of disheartening. So I recently came across a post by the member called Andy Smith in the Facebook group Star Wars Customs, where he posted his own version of a custom Quinlan Vos, and I was, man, I want one. So I started to look around at my go-to places like Cards 3D and Thingiverse, and on the latter, I found a model uploaded by the user Multiverse 3D Designs. It shows him in a cool action pose with his lightsaber ignited. It's not the most authentic looking design, it tries to follow the original comic book artwork with some liberties, but I was fine with that. Since the figure does not come with a base, I wanted to come up with something creative. I did not want to print anything basic, like a round or oval shaped base, since most of my other original Star Wars figures have something interesting going on at their feet, like terrain, industrial rubbish, etc. So I found this item called Sci-Fi Industrial Utility Cart that I thought would look cool and Star Warsy, as if he was jumping on it or off from it, and printing was good to go. I had to cut Quinlan in half though, and even cut the blade of the lightsaber, since as a one-piece item, he would not have fit on my printing plate, or the figure itself would have been kinda tiny, and I wanted to have him big.
That's what she said!
Quinlan is of course a character that was featured as a cameo or Easter egg in Episode 1 The Phantom Menace, and later rose to prominence in the Dark Horse comics in the prequel era. He was heavily featured in the Republic series, but it took some time for him to gain a somewhat standardized look, as many artists drew him in their own unique way. Even his creator Jan Tersema wasn't as consistent in his looks at the beginning, and went between this Native American look with thick, long, straight hair, to smooth dreadlocks, then to locks with more texture, and then back to straight long hair. I liked the last one the best, to be honest, and wanted to go with this style. Quinlan is of the near-human race called Kifar, and grew up as a friend of Obi-Wan, under the guidance of his master Tom. He is a kind of rough Jedi, and sort of a ladies' man, and also the master of the beloved Twi'lek Jedi Aayla Secura. I absolutely love them. Them meeting is just so adorable, and despite all the weird sidetracks of him going back and forth between the light and the dark side, I think they were originally a good match. Anyway, since Quinlan came out in two parts, I had to drill, pin and glue them together and try to hide the edges on his waist where the two parts connected. For that, I used Tamiya's Epoxy Putty smooth surface, which actually did its job quite well. After I have completed the figure, I couldn't really determine where the original edges were. A lot of sanding was necessary, as the heavy supports left quite some marks after I removed them, and I still noticed some later. I tried to fill them with putty and sand it evenly, but due to the nature of the figure, I couldn't reach everything properly. As I mentioned in the beginning, my favorite style of hair for Quinlan was by his creator Tersema, where she drew a long, kinda straight hair for him. I was inspired by this image in particular that shows him with the then young Aayla, where his hair is in a small, loose ponytail. I tried to fill the gaps with the Tamiya Epoxy Putty to get a somewhat of a smooth surface. I'm not 100% satisfied with the result. I clearly have a long way to go in terms of sculpting something anew. As a base coat, I used my usual Vallejo primer in ghost grey color, which is almost empty by now, so don't fret, I already have a new one, this time a beige color, and I can't wait to try that one as well. I was actually looking forward painting Quinlan's skin, as I have this beautiful tan Citadel skin color that looks so perfect for him. Since it's a one-piece figure, I wanted to go from the top to bottom with the colors, so I first painted his face. Imagine my horror the next day when I sat down to my desk and saw that the cap of the Citadel bottle came open and the contents of it became this chunky, clumpy, disgusting thing that was unsalvageable. So I had to mix a Vallejo Fairy Flash with a browner shade to get something similar and repaint the whole thing. I absolutely love the Citadel one, but the design of this little container is a nightmare. The cap rarely closes perfectly after you open and use it. I will order a new one, but it's such a waste. I was a bit torn about the outfit though. Originally, Quinlan does wear clothes that leave his muscular arms open, but no shirt or top with that huge of a cut on his sides. So I was tempted to fill the parts of it with putty as well, but seeing my abilities with his hair, I did not really trust myself that I could pull it off. So I left it as it is. The color for the tunic he wears kind of varies from artwork to artwork. It's sometimes brown, sometimes greenish, and I should have went with the brown one. I love brown. Brown is one of my favorite colors, but instead I use this dirty green shade that we usually call liboforzöld in Hungarian, meaning green like goose poop. Printing took a while, even with the figure cut in half. For the statue, I used Anycubic's plant-based eco resin in white color, but I kinda started to experience some problem with this resin. Some of my prints stuck to the bottom of the fab, and even with more strong supports and re-leveling my printer, I could not figure out what was wrong. So I changed to bioresin from the same company, also in white color, in hopes to get better results. And I have no problems since then, to be honest. I don't know how bio the resin actually is. It definitely has less of an odor, more like a faint bubblegummy scent. But I see no difference in the end product, so I think I will keep using the bioresin for now. This video is not sponsored, by the way. I wish it was, because resin is not cheap, but hey, Anycubic, if you would like to sponsor me, hit me up in the DMs. In case you're wondering where the small end piece of the lightsaber went, believe it or not, I managed to break it off. Not the other, longer part of it, no, that small little thing. Don't worry, I glued it back later. As for the chest armor, shoulder pierce and arm braces, instead of the matte black, I went with a glossy one, as in many of the artworks they seem to be standing out like they are from some shiny material. And he often wears leathery pants, so I used my shiny black on all of these. I cannot stress enough how I hate painting one-piece figures. It's a nightmare. Maybe I'm just too accustomed to the multi-part anime figures, but I had so much trouble holding and rotating the figure all over the place to reach certain parts, and then go back multiple times to tidy up the lines. So if the paint job looks messy at first in the video, don't worry, I spent a lot of time fixing that off camera. I've got a new brush with a tiny tip by the brand Munkachi, who was a famous Hungarian painter by the way. It was life-saving. I used it a lot to correct the mistakes and paint narrow edges and decoration. The fact that the face later turned out the way it did is mostly thanks to this small brush. And I dreaded painting the face, as the eyes were so small and I had no idea how to approach it. For the lightsaber, I added the shimmery coat by the brand Green Stuff World, Color Shift Metal, to make it look a bit special. Despite filling the face, I had a lot of fun with it. It turned out to be one of the best parts of the whole statue, and I'm kinda proud of it now. As for the base, I printed the card, did some sanding work, and after the base coat, I painted everything black and dry brushed it with metallic silver to give it a worn industrial feel. After everything has dried and got glued together, it was time for the Vallejo spray varnish, and voila, this is the final result. I honestly wanted to scrap the whole project so many times during the painting process, but I'm glad I didn't. It felt amazing to finally complete it, and even with the mistakes here and there, I really fell in love with it. I can't wait to paint an Ayla Sakura for him. I'm sure they will look awesome together. Thank you for sticking through this long video. Please leave a comment if you did and tell me what you think. Do you like Quinlan Vos as a character? Do you think he will get a role in an upcoming animation or live action show? I would love to hear your opinion about this. If you like what I do here on YouTube and would like to support me, please visit my Patreon and pick a tier of your liking. With the highest tier, you will get access to my special kinky members only figure painting of the month, and I can already give you a small hint that it's going to be Star Wars related as well. If you're on a budget, that is also fine. Please just don't forget to like and subscribe to never miss another video on the channel. That will also help me immensely. Thank you for watching and see you soon.